Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com. It's almost Tuesday morning. Let's do boxing mailbag. These are emails that have been sent to me through the YouTube system. I've picked out some of the ones I think are great, and let's talk about them. The first is from MC Bitsko, and he writes, in part, Saul Alvarez is still learning his craft at just 20 years of age. But to make a fighter of Ryan Rhodes' experience look as if he didn't belong in the same ring stamped Canelo as a bit special. Let me just say I have some conflicted feelings about Saul Alvarez. I did post a video a while back when he was a teenager praising him as he was on the way up. But let's just say that we will see what happens. I thought that Saul Alvarez was given the crown at 154 pounds. I think that some things in life really can't be rushed, and I think becoming a great fighter is one of them. Alvarez just doesn't have the experience that other champions in the sport have. Miguel Cotto is battle tested. Whether you love Cotto or hate Cotto, he has the legitimacy that comes with fighting fighters like Manny Pacquiao, Joshua Clottey, Antonio Margarito, Yuri Foreman, and others, right? Carlos Quintana. When you look at Cotto, you understand that he has fought at the championship level and that he can deal with what contenders are bringing into the ring. I still think it's an open question on Saul Alvarez. Let me go further. Saul Alvarez doesn't have blinding hand speed, right? He's really a puncher with a boxing overlay. He isn't a great defensive fighter. I think that boxing is unfair. You can tell early on when you look at fighters, and I'm talking about when they're teenagers, whether or not they just are gifted defensively, whether or not they are fighting going off angles, and just whether the way they're wired, they have the reflexes and the understanding, the approach, I guess is a better word, in the sport to actually be great defensively. I don't see the great defense with Saul Alvarez, nor do I see the blinding hand speed in the natural combinations. You see it with Amir Khan, for example. Again, whatever you think about Amir Khan, the hand speed just leaps out at you. Right? As soon as you see him, you understand, wow, this guy's pretty fast. Not only that, the foot speed leaps out at you. When I see Canelo, the power leaps out at me, but I see a fighter who's pretty stiff. So I'll say this, and with regard to age, you know what? When he hops in the ring, he's just one boxer in the ring. We don't give crowns for a guy being good at 20, right? Either he's a champ at 154 or he's not. And if he's not, we're going to find that out. I think his next fight is going to be much tougher than expected. He's on the undercard of Victor Ortiz against Floyd Mayweather, and I think that Ortiz-Mayweather fight is going to be better than expected. This fight, though, Alfonso Gomez, to me, is the opposite of Saul Alvarez. Alfonso Gomez has come up the hard way. He was in the contender. He's fought Miguel Cotto, right? He completely schooled Arturo Gatti. He's a better fighter than advertised. The powers that be behind the curtain haven't given him championships like they've given Saul Alvarez. So I'm looking at film on that fight right now, and I can tell you that I think Alfonso Gomez has the faster foot speed than Saul Alvarez. I think Alfonso Gomez is a faster starter than Saul Alvarez, and I think Alfonso Gomez is slicker than Saul Alvarez. Um, that fight's going to be a big test for Saul Alvarez. All of us are learning things about him in every fight, and we'll see what we learn in the next one because he's in that spot now where he's going to be taking on guys like Alfonso Gomez going forward. Gomez is an underrated fighter. So, I'm not sure if I know as I make this video today who wins that Alfonso Gomez versus Saul Alvarez fight. I do know that Vegas likely is going to have Saul Alvarez overrated in that matchup. So let's take a look at it. Alvarez is at that point too in his career where he's going to have to realize his limitations. And he's going to have to, because you don't just get hand speed. You don't just get great defense. He's going to have to compensate for his limitations, right? He's going to have to go the Vitaly Klitschko route, where, Vitaly Klitschko doesn't have blinding hand speed, but he has come up with a defensive construct, right, where he's able to maximize the talents he has. And all I'm saying is for Saul Alvarez to be great, he's going to have to take what he has and lift it to the next level. Let me also say this too. We saw an inside game, and it was surprising, from Tyson Fury this last weekend. I haven't seen that level of inside game from Saul Alvarez. Maybe it's there. Maybe he just hasn't fought the type of fighter where he could show us some inside skills, where he could look a bit like Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. I haven't seen it yet. So jury's still out on Saul Alvarez, in my opinion. Okay, the next email comes from Charlie W. Gooner. He says, hey, I've just gone into boxing reporting. Have a look at my channel. See what you think, mate. Thank you. It's www.youtube.com/user/CharlieSpeaksTV. Let me just say, I'm trying to help build a big-time boxing community here on YouTube. And if I can help pub a guy going into boxing reporting, well, that's what I've just done. Hope you give Charlie Speaks TV a look. I was impressed by what I saw. Okay, here's one from Mahalo 20021. This is on the Bute Jean-Paul Mendy post-fight. He says here that I really would like to know your opinion on the following. Did you think that Bute looked a bit slower against Mendy than in his previous fights? If so, how would you rate Pavlik's chances against him? I don't think Kelly Pavlik has much of a chance against Lucian Bute. I thought Bute looked great against Mendy. And I think Bute is really a guy who has pretty good hand speed, pretty good reflexes. He's outside the box. He's that kind of fighter that can drop his hands and still, dole out a big-time punishment. And what I like with Bute is he has an inside game. He could literally come in close to you and throw very short punches to chop you down. Kelly Pavlik, the last time I saw Kelly Pavlik, he was returning from outside the ring problems. And quite frankly, Pavlik got hit way too much for my taste. The problem with boxing is once your gifts go, once you lose reflexes, once you start getting hit more than you normally would, then you're close to the end. And I think Kelly Pavlik, quite frankly, is close to the end. The challenge he faces is he's viewed as an elite boxer, right? Well, to stay elite at his weight, he's going to have to deal with some pretty rough guys, right? He's going to have to deal with Bute, Andre Ward, Carl Froch. The water's awfully deep. And I just wonder whether Kelly Pavlik at this stage has the reflexes to keep up with all of those guys. He has a great jab. The problem is Lucien Boute's style is geared to get around great jabs. I'd take Bute by a wide margin in that fight. Let me just say, though, I like to straddle. Kelly Pavlik always has a puncher's chance in every fight he's in. He has one punch knockout power. So while I think he's thoroughly outgunned, anytime Kelly Pavlik fights, even if it's against Lucien Bute, I'd take Bute to win, but I'd straddle it with Kelly Pavlik by KO. All right, let's go to the next one. This one's by Joe KO Boxing. And Joe does great videos of boxing matches, previewing matches on YouTube. I hope you give his site a look. Joe apparently has a iPhone, iTouch, and iPad application. To find out more about it, go to Joe KO Boxing's YouTube channel page. All right, as I said, I'm trying to help build a robust boxing community here on YouTube, and I'm trying to support my brothers here online. All right, Universum 2 wants to talk about the Marquez-Ramos fight, which ended by first round KO. And he says, hey, I was wondering what you thought about the Marquez versus Ramos KO in one. Did you think it was a real knockout? Or do you think it was a dive or fixed fight? Well, thanks for your great page. Thanks for the kind words. Let me just say this. I think that Juan Manuel Marquez is a technician. I think the reason why he took on lefty Ramos, right, Luca Ramos, who's a lefty like Manny Pacquiao, is because he wanted the rounds, right? He wanted to deal with the style. This is what great fighters do, right? He wanted the practice. He took the fight not for the payday. He literally took the fight for the preparation. This was a dry run for Marquez Pacquiao 3. So I know it sounds odd, but he didn't want the one-punch knockout. Marquez is there for the work, right? Even if he had the guy outgunned, Marquez probably would have tried to carry him for a few rounds just to get the work in so that when he goes up against Pacquiao, he's faced the southpaw and he knows what to expect, and he's fresh, right? He just faced the southpaw. He's not relearning their last fight from a few years ago. So I don't think Marquez would participate in anything that was outside the lines, right? I don't think that was a fixed fight by any stretch of the imagination. I will say this, though. We've all seen many fights where an opponent gets overwhelmed, he gets hit with a punch. It's not a fixed fight, but the opponent goes down and he decides he's going to stay down. I thought that was the case. Again, this is speculation on my part. In the Evander Holyfield-Buster Douglas fight a while back, looking at how Ramos hits the canvas, if Ramos decided to stay down, the decision was his and his alone. I don't think it was a fixed fight. I don't think Marquez would be involved in a fixed fight. I think the only reason Marquez is fighting is because it's a personal challenge to him. He wants to be the best he can be. As for Ramos, maybe he was just overwhelmed by the moment. I really don't know. It did look like a real punch. He was hit hard. I was surprised looking at the footage that he stayed down. So I don't think Marquez would participate in a fixed fight. Ramos, maybe he was overwhelmed. I'd be speculating. I don't know. Let's go to, have a few seconds left. Let's go to Overdue Diligence. He says, do you analyze MMA at all? I like to watch MMA. Those guys, I think, are the best fighters out there, right? Guys who are coordinated, where they're using their feet with their hands. That gets a wow by me, but I think it's a totally different sport than boxing. To me, it's as different as karate. Those guys, quite frankly, are fighting a different game, right? The distance, the timing, it's all different. So I don't know MMA well enough to analyze that sport. That sport's completely over my head. Let me know what you think. Leave your comments for me here on YouTube, and thanks for watching. Thanks for writing me too.